accelerate, we can remove the convergence difficulties. Okay. Now, how do we do? We use this omega parameter. And how we use this omega parameter? We divide this central coefficients by this omega. If omega is a large number, this total will become small number such a way that you can get an acceleration. If omega is less number, this will be a large number, this total will be a large number. So diagonal dominance will be achieved and it will remove the convergence difficulty. Now, when you use this particular omega parameter, this Gauss-Seidel iterative method is called as Gauss-Seidel successive over relaxation. Successive over relaxation. Okay. So this is in simple, I mean in this thing, GS SOR. Many times people call GS SOR. So this is the method mostly used in all the softwares. Okay, Gauss-Seidel successive overrelation. In Gauss-Seidel successive overrelation, what will do? Now simply whatever algorithm we have given, Tij is equals to Tij new. This is new. This is also new. This is also new because new will become old. And we had a Rij, and what we have? Aii divided by omega. So omega can go here. So this is just a simple change. Okay. Your algorithm remains same. Only you have this multiplying factor with your residual in order to control these two things, acceleration or to remove the convergence difficulty. Okay. This is a format used in Gauss-Seidel successive over relaxation method. Okay. So for BTCS method, you just simply the algorithm remains same as given in the previous classes. Only difference is that this omega will come instead of those equations. So this particular equation we do for interior points. Interior points, there will be a one loop. There will be another loop for BC boundary condition 1. Okay. You will have to again write T, whatever, according to boundary values, this Ij will be boundary points. Okay. This new will be equals to Tij, which will be these boundary points, new plus omega Rij at the Rij of the boundary. This is boundary, R boundary. Let me write B1. This will be B1. Boundary 1, or let me write this also boundary 1, but hope you understand. Boundary 1 and this also boundary 1. And AII of the boundary 1. Okay. Similarly, you can, this is a loop. This is a loop. There is a iterative loop 1, loop 2. There will be another loop for your boundary condition. If you have another boundary 2, there is another loop for another BC, like that. And everything will be in another loop. Everything will be another loop. This is called a time loop. Okay. So this is time loop n. You will keep on doing for time. For one time, for n is equals to 0, you will keep on doing this looping 1, loop 2, loop 3, loop 4. For n is equals to 1, then loop 1, like that. N is equals to 2, you'll keep on calculating. Okay. So your program, computer program can help you in You decide the values of omega. This decision of this omega value, as I already said, this is there is no fix. There is no fix omega. There is no fix omega, and omega value. Okay, and calculation calculation of this and calculation or knowledge of this is very difficult before before you solve. So this posterior only. This is not preempt kind of. Okay, a priori, and its value is not its value is not known a priori. Okay, so we do not know this value before we solve. So you have to just do some testing. You have to see whether you are getting acceleration or not with some values, and you have to keep playing with. So here there is a experimentation. Some experimentation you will have to do. Okay, so experimentations are needed to needed to get the optimum optimum omega. Okay, omega for a simple system, 3 by 3 system, or 4 by 4, 5 by 5, you might be able to find out omega optimum. But in general, in many cases, when you are dealing with a problem of 2D, having grid size of 3000, 4000, 5000, uh, your matrix is very complicated, and knowing from the matrix is not that easy. So only way is experiment, because we do not know what form of the equation is, what is the matrix type, what are the coefficients of the matrix for that particular method in a software. So experimentation is only a way to know this over relaxation and under relaxation parameters. Okay. So use mostly this Gauss-Seidel over relaxation method to solve any problem. Okay. So till now, what we have done is to solve heat transfer problem, and that to unsteady heat transfer problem, and that to 2D also. We have shown you one explicit method where we do not need to solve simultaneous equation, and that method was forward in time and central in space that we have chosen. And secondly, we have gone for implicit method. One of the methods was BTCS. Now, in case of explicit and implicit, the difference is explicit needs no simultaneous equations to be solved. Okay. However, in case of implicit, simultaneous equations need to be solved. Okay. But the problem with explicit is restriction on delta T, stability. Okay. Stability problem comes. However, in case of implicit methods, no stability No stability limits. We have seen that they are unconditionally stable. So since there is no stability limit, they are unconditionally stable. Most of the solvers, most of the solvers, most of the solvers use this implicit method. Okay. Now we have seen only one of the implicit method, that is BTCS. So apart from BTCS, there are other implicit methods. Implicit methods. Okay. Now, if I ask you a question, what was the order of accuracy of this BTCS scheme? Order of accuracy of this BTCS scheme, if you remember, it was delta t and delta x square for 1D problem and 2D problem delta xy square. 3D delta g square. So it was first order accurate in time, first order accurate in time, and second order accurate, second order accurate, accurate in space. Okay. Now, can you get some other schemes? Since this is good, in this good category, can you get some more good categories? So what we can get more is that some scheme, maybe some scheme which have order of accuracy delta t square, more the order of accuracy, it is more, the accuracy is more, right? That is what it means. So we can get something like second order accurate in time, second order in space. So that scheme will be better, isn't it? So there are certain, apart from there are implicit methods which has order of accuracy delta t is delta y square, and today we'll see one of the method that is called as Crank-Nicolson method. Okay, so one of the methods, one of the methods is Crank-Nicolson method. This is also written like CN method. Okay, this method we are going to look at for heat transfer problem. And what was our problem? We were looking at this problem, delta T is equals to alpha plus del square T del y square. And boundary conditions can be accordingly, and you can set a problem one, problem two, problem three based on the boundary conditions. But let us talk about this point where we can use the Crank-Nicolson. So what is Crank-Nicolson? Basically this Crank-Nicolson method, so the CN method is nothing but the sum of FTBS method plus BTCS method. Okay, which we already seen, one explicit method and one. So it is a combination of one explicit method, explicit and implicit. Okay, this is what CN method is. So how we can do FTBS CN method? To get CN method, what we have to do is we have to take first FTBS formulation, then we have to take BTCS formulation. So FTBS formulation for this particular problem was FTBS was Tij in two dimensional. It was n plus 1 minus Tij n delta t is equals to alpha. And since it is a explicit, all other terms here, I minus 1 j minus 2 ij plus t I minus I plus 1 j. Here, all the terms were nth level, isn't it? That is explicit. Delta x square and plus t I j minus 1 and things like that. Plus t I j plus 1 and all are nth level values. Second, this is BTCS, FTBS, sorry, excuse me, FTCS, central in space. Similarly, we can have the BTCS Tij n plus 1 minus Tij delta t n is equals to alpha ti minus 1 comma j minus 2 tij. These are all n plus 1, n plus 1 plus ti plus 1 comma j, n plus 1 delta x square plus ti j minus 1 minus 2 tij n plus 1 n plus 1 plus ti j plus 1 n plus 1 delta y square. Okay. Now you have to sum this. So summing this, what you are going to get? So equation 1 and equation 2, add equation 1 and 2, add equation 1 and 2, add equation 1 and 2, what do we get? We get this one. We get finally Tij n plus 1 minus Tij n delta t, and we get alpha divided by 2, and this first term here. So I'll just say this is A and this is B. So this term will come here plus alpha by 2 B term, isn't it? So that is what it is. So here we see that uh, one will be I n plus 1 and one will be like that. Okay, so you can say that this is at all nth level, this is all at n plus 1th level, right? So this is what it is. Now this is a whole scheme, whole I mean a discretized form for CN. For CN, Crank Nicholson, this is the discretization. Okay. Now you have to find out the BCs can be applied in the same manner what you used to do. Say for example, you have a BC. Suppose you have been given at x equals to 0, for example. So I'll just say about B. Say at x is equals to 0, you have been given temperature value, some T naught. Then you will simply assign Tij, what are Tij and that too again at n plus 1. Same strategy. Here there is no different strategy for Krein-Nicolson. So this is like Dirichlet boundary condition. Suppose there is some Neumann boundary condition is there again, then same similar to what used to do in previous cases. You can use the same strategy here, nx minus 1 comma j n plus 1 divided by delta x, and that is nothing but your heat transfer, rate, conduction heat transfer k, or you can bring it here q by k like that, or you can say here k and negative and all these things. So this is Neumann kind of, and then you can have Robin. So Robin also can be arranged according to Robin, means you will have this K term, this term like this. This is like conduction term, and then you will have some convection term, and same pattern. So here there is nothing like I n y or something n x nx j n plus 1 goes to h t f h t known value. This is a known value. So similarly, you can use boundary condition. So there is no special nature in boundary condition, but the interior points have been discretized using BTCA, forward in time, central in space, backward in time, and so explicit and implicit. Explicit and implicit. Explicit and implicit. Explicit is n, implicit is n plus 1. So we do for boundary condition also. Now for this particular scheme, the order of accuracy is delta t square, delta x square, delta y square. Okay, and you have to prove this. Homework is, you have homework, prove this. Okay, prove this. Now to prove this, you have to choose hint. I am giving you a hint. What is the hint is? The hint is that you have to choose Tij at n plus half. Okay. So suppose you have this n level. So this is n and this is n plus 1 level. Okay. In that case, in between there will be a n plus half level. So you have to take this as a center of your Taylor series. Tij is taken as a center of discretization, is taken as a center of discretization. So you do this, use Taylor series for a Taylor series. Okay, you try this. This is a center point in order to get n plus 1 values, n values. So if you do a center Tij at n plus half, you have to substitute, and you have to get this form, and then you have to get this equation, and then you will come to know that the order of accuracy is delta t square, delta x square, delta y square. Prove this. This is a homework for given to you. Okay. So this is the advantage here is that it is having a higher order accuracy in time. So results of this method will be good. Second thing you have to show, I'm not going to that one thing is about order of accuracy. These are the general questions you have to always ask, order of accuracy. And second thing, we always worry about stability. Now in this implicit method, Stability, what is the stability? Stability of Cn. Can anybody say stability of Cn? Since Cn is implicit method, it is unconditionally unconditionally stable. But you have to prove, unconditionally stable. Okay. Homework. This is again I am giving you as a homework. We already done some cases where how to find out a stability analysis. So homework is that prove this. Please do these things. Prove this. That Craig-Nicholson method is unconditionally stable. So this thing you do, please. Uh, then we'll talk about some other method. If I have time, then I think so there are some other methods are also available. Those are called as block iterative methods. They are iterative methods. Now in this Craig-Nicholson, what do you do? In the implicit method like BTCS, what do you do? So we have this grid. We have these grid points, right? We have these grid points. So when you are solving, we move from one grid to another grid. Okay, from one grid we move to another grid, from one grid to another grid, from so one point to another point, one another grid point, like that. So from this you jump to another point like that. So we go point by point, point by point. Okay, so point by point approach, point by point. Okay, point by point approach. But there can be other approaches where we can go by the block. Okay, so in the first cases, what we can do, we can sweep in the box like blocks. Okay, in the x direction like this, one block, another block. Okay, then another block, then another block. So once you are done blockwise, then we can do the vertical blocks, vertical blockwise. Okay, so like this. So if you do a blockwise, then it is called as block iterative method. Okay, and here what we are doing is we are alternating the direction. In the first case, we are doing along x direction, and then in second case, we were moving along y direction. So what we are doing in first case, we are using x. So alternating, we are alternating, alternating the directions, alternating the directions. So there are other category of methods which are named on this concept. They are called as alternating direction implicit methods, ADI methods. They are called as alternating direction implicit method or alternate. So they are called as alternate direction implicit methods. Okay. Here you can say it is ADI. ADI. Sometimes this abbreviation is also used ADI. So it is now you see that there is a one directional there is another direction. So there are two steps. So step one and step two. So in first case, we take the x direction. In second step, we consider the y direction effect, and we proceed with that. Okay. So I'll show you now. We'll stop here, and I will show you this thing in the next class, tomorrow's class. What are the alternating direction implicit methods are. Then also we'll look at alternating. So we were discussing many ADI methods. We will discuss alternating direction explicit method also. Okay. And after discussing this method, uh, almost we have covered what is required for solving any heat transfer problem in a Cartesian coordinate and other coordinate directions like radial coordinate and this type of problems under the purview of finite volume method can be solved on a Cartesian coordinate. And don't leave the class. When I said I'm stopping, means don't leave the class. What I'm saying might be interesting also. Okay, so once I have to close, I will just close the session immediately. So I think next week we have the exams. Is it? Anybody will tell me? We have the exams, right? Next week we have exams, right?
Yes, sir, from 23rd.
From 23 or 22?
23rd.
23rd. So we are getting Monday. Okay, so what I'll do is tomorrow I'll discuss about this ADI and ADE method, and then on 27 I will just give the recap what we have covered in this second session. In between test one and test two, and uh, so as I discussed in the last time, the I gave the complete overview of the things we have covered. So I'll give the discussions on Monday. Don't you know uh, attend. Please attend this class. Okay. So I'm stopping here.